So as you're joining us this morning, it's prop day. You're going to need lighter weights, heavier weights, 2 blocks, and we're going to start rolling our foot with a ball. If you have a ball, like a tennis ball or something, just grab it. If you don't have a tennis ball, I'm just going to suggest that you sit down in a chair and you just use your hands and you just kind of begin by massaging your foot a little bit. If you do have a ball, we're just going to roll our foot with a ball to begin our practice, because this is such a really nice, lovely way to start out because it's a mindful practice. So I want you to really notice the feeling of the ball under your foot. I'm going to move off my mat here. And you can just spend some time on one foot. You can roll big, long strokes front and back along from the ball to the heel along the arch of the foot. You can do little faster movements, kind of front and back, and kind of work your way. You can do a little side to side. You can work right along the edge of the ball of the foot, along the inner edge of the arch. Just explore your foot. And of course, the more you press, the more you're going to work into the tissue. The lighter you press, the lighter the massage. And everybody has their own personal preference in terms of how deep to go. But if you're not feeling a whole lot of sensation, you might want to put a little more weight into it. You might want to have your hand on a chair or on the wall if you want. Make sure you're steady. But we're going to spend a little more time on this first foot, really trying to work into the tissue, because we know that the lines of fascia run through the ball of the foot, through the foot. And so in loosening up the foot, we have the possibility to release tightness elsewhere in the body. Like I was saying, I'm a little sore, and a lot of times when I'm sore, I have a little back issue going on. Just a few minutes of rolling the ball can really make a difference in my body, and you might find the same for you. You might find that rolling your foot could release an issue in your shoulder, in your neck, in your back. These lines of fascia are all kind of interconnected, and releasing one area of that line can kind of free up some tightness in another part of that same fascia line. So I'm going to switch to my second foot now, and you might want to pretty soon as well. And just kind of notice what you're experiencing. So maybe rather than watching the video, kind of take your gaze somewhere else and just tap into your own experience of what this feels like, to be softening up the bottom surface of your foot. And again, if you don't have a ball, you're just kind of massaging your foot with your thumbs. Again, with the goal of just softening up that surface of your foot, kind of trying to find every area where you can make a little impact in softening that tissue. Kind of play around with how much weight, how much pressure you want to put into the ball. These tennis balls are really, you can really vary how much you're pressing, because they'll leave a lot of give. And we'll take a little more time here, just feeling what it feels like to soften up the bottom surface of the foot with massage. This time using the ball as our tool for massage. And just kind of keep this in mind, on days when you're not practicing with me, or on days where you don't have a lot of time to practice, that this can be a really nice short little way to kind of ease your body. And it could be a mindfulness practice. Just maybe 3 to 5 minutes of mindfully rolling your foot. So we'll finish up with this foot. And then before we move to lying down, let's just put our feet down and just maybe close your eyes And notice how your feet are feeling. And just see if you can notice any effect that working the bottom surface of your foot might have created in your body. Like I often notice when I have tightness in my low back, I can feel a difference from before I rolled my foot to after. So kind of notice the feeling of your body and see if maybe there's any change in how you're feeling. Take a breath or two here. All right, let's make our way down onto our backs, and we're going to need our lighter weights right off the bat. So have your lighter weights nearby. But before we pick up our weights, let's just lie down for a moment and let the body relax into the floor. Take a moment to perhaps soften the roof of your mouth. That line of fascia that we were working by rolling the foot actually does flow through the base of the skull. And softening the roof of the mouth is a technique that relaxes the base of the skull. So, you know, you might notice that it's a little different softening the roof of your mouth when we've already created a little ease there. Just take a few rounds of deep breath here so that you have an opportunity to complete a few full exhalations, an opportunity to let the breath empty all the way out. And then freeing up that space for a nice deep breath in. But we want to reset the nervous system to that calm setting, and we can do that by letting the breath empty out and getting that diaphragm to release. This is a couple of techniques that we're doing that we're focusing on our experience. And let's continue to really focus on our experience as we move mindfully this morning. So after your next full release of breath, you can open your eyes and we will pick up our weights, our lighter weights. And let's take them in our hands and reach our arms up to the ceiling with the weight kind of resting in the heel of your hands. Let's reach the arms up toward the ceiling. So the back of the shoulders lifts off the floor as you're reaching your arms up. And then with the weight in your hands, let's retract that upper arm bone into the shoulder socket and drop the back of the shoulders heavily down into the floor. So you feel a little more space across your collarbones. Let's do that again. Reach up around your shoulders forward or up, and then drop your shoulders back. Upper arm bones retracting into the shoulders here. One more time, reach up, protract up, and then retract back down. Great. And then just open your arms out wide. Keep your elbows a little soft or bent. Take your arms so they're just barely off the floor. Hollow out your armpits a little bit here, encouraging more of the back of your shoulder to create or to come into contact with the floor. And then can you keep the back of your shoulder on the floor as you start to bring your arms slowly, gradually back up straight. So your arms come up straight, but the back of the shoulders don't lift at all. And then take a breath in. On your exhale, kind of knit your lower ribs into your belly a little bit. And with your ribs knitting in, start to take your arms overhead. So can you reach your arms overhead without allowing your ribs to pop up? Maybe your arms go overhead alongside your ears. Maybe the bell reaches and touches the floor. Either way, you're still keeping the ribs knit in a little bit so they're not popping up to the ceiling. Take a breath here. As you exhale, can you feel the back of your shoulders on the floor and press them down the back of the shoulders as you bring your arms slowly, gradually back up toward the ceiling? Yeah, so we've reset the shoulders back and down. Now let's bend the elbows. So we have bent arms, kind of a 90-degree angle, and we'll take our feet off the floor. Bent knees, beginning dead bug position. Let's take the arms and legs straight up as we breathe in. Get that little stretch in your legs. You might want to circle your feet around and loosen up your legs a little bit here. And then let's bend arms and legs back to that bent position. So again, we're going to inhale and straighten things up, and exhale and bend. And inhale, straightening up, and exhale and bend. And just one more time like that. So your arm from your shoulder to your elbow isn't moving, just the lower part of your arm is moving. All right, let's do opposite arm and opposite leg. So one arm and the opposite leg go up, and then we go back to bent, and then the other arm and the other leg go up, and then we go back to bent. We can use the breath here. Inhale as we lift up, exhale as we bend, inhale as we go up, exhale to bend. So, this is dead bug. You can do this with or without weights. So if you decide that you want to let go of the weights at any point, that's always an option. So we'll go up and down a couple more times here. Opposite arm and opposite leg. How does it feel? And then the next time you're in the bent position, we're going to take the arms and legs straight up toward the ceiling. We're going to start to take one leg out to the side and just kind of see how far that leg can go without your hips lifting or rocking or turning. And then take the opposite arm out to the side and breathe in. And then bring that arm and leg back up. Take your other leg out to the side. See if you can maintain midline stability. No movement in the hips here. Take your opposite arm out to the side and breathe in. And exhale, arm and leg back up. So continuing like that. Let's focus on our midline. Try to keep it steady. The lower part of that midline doesn't veer off to the side as the leg goes out to the side. The line from your chin to your pubic bone doesn't veer off. We're opening out to the side as we breathe in, and we're exhaling to come back up. So really rock steady stability here. If your leg went a little further, maybe the hip would lift up or the hips would roll to the side. You go right to that edge where you can keep the hips just as they are. And it asks the core to really fire to control that movement. And that's what we're trying to do here. Wake up the core muscles here. So we'll go out to each side one more time. Inhaling to open. And exhaling back up. And maybe one more here. Okay, and if you need to take a break, take a break. We're going to go to the next layer of dead bug, which is taking one arm overhead and the opposite leg. You can either tap your toe down and bring the leg back up or extend the leg out. And then we'll bring the arm and leg back up. And then other side, arm goes over and leg goes down. And then we come back up. We can breathe with this. The back of the shoulder stays down. So we can reset the shoulders with this. Yeah. Lots going on here. We're really waking up a lot of muscles here. Let's do a few more of these. Inhale to extend and exhale back up. Inhale to extend. Maybe we got one more in us. Maybe you've had enough and you're taking a break. Last one here. All right. Let's go ahead and release the feet down for a moment. I want you to bend your arms like 90 degrees, but then let your upper arm drop to the floor. And if it's comfortable, can you drop your arms back kind of like cactus arms or goalposts? If that's too much for you, you don't have to go all the way out onto the floor. But we're going to add some arm movement that's going to be taking these bent arms up and in towards each other and then opening out to the side. So we keep the elbows bent 90 degrees and we bring them up. So your elbows are up from your shoulders and then your arms out to the side. And we're going to add some legs to this. So we're going to, again, bring our knees up and we're going to open the knees apart. And so we're going to bring the knees together as we bring the arms together. We're going to open the knees apart as the arms open out to the side. So arms and knees come together, arms and knees open out. And just open out as far as works okay for your shoulders. Some of us might go down all the way towards the floor. Some of us might not want to open the arms as wide out. And we're still going to work the chest, work the inner upper arm, even if we, don't open the arms out as far. So we're opening knees, opening arms, and coming back up. And we'll do a few more of these here. Getting those hips working, inner thighs, working the pecs a little bit here, inner arms. Let's do 4 more like this. And 3 more. And 2 more. And last one. Nice job. All right, release your feet down. You can place the weights down for now. And with let's just do a little bridge here. Place your feet close to your bum, feet about hip distance apart. We're just going to press into the feet to lift the hips up. Let your knees and shins go forward as your hips go up. Just kind of open up the front of the hips a little bit here after all that hip flexion. Take a breath at the top and then roll yourself down. Great. All right, let's roll to the side. So we're facing our device. We're going to rest our head on our bottom arm, or you could slide a pillow or a blanket under there. We're going to bend our knees 90 degrees towards your device with one knee right on top of the other. They're lined up, which is going to stack our hips really nicely. And then we're going to grab one of these lighter weights and in that top arm, bringing our elbow by our waist, our fist toward the device or in the direction of your knees, kind of. So the arm movement is going to be elbow by the waist, lifting up toward the ceiling, trying not to cock the wrist back, and then bringing that forearm parallel to the floor. So we're just going to rotate the arm up and then bring it back down. And at the same time, we'll keep our feet together and lift the knee up and then lower the knee down. Clamshell with the legs and external rotation with the arms. Feet stay together. We don't want our hips rolling back. Hips stay stacked. We lift the arm, we lift the knee. And getting that arm straight up toward the ceiling is going to be difficult for some of us. We're going to do the best we can, but sometimes we cheat by cocking the wrist back. No need to have any movement in the wrist. Movement from the rotation in the shoulder. So let's do 4 more of these. And if it gets to be too much for your shoulder, you could drop the weight. You could hold a block, or you could just do it with nothing. I think we got 2 more. I might have given you a bonus, I'm not sure. Too busy talking. Let's take a break here. We're going to put the weight down. No. I was going to do some more things, but I think we'll save those for next time. Let's swing around to the other side. All right, we're going to pick up that light weight again. And we're going to lay down. And we're going to bend our knees 90 degrees. Knees are stacked, one on top of the other. So the hips stay stacked, and that's what we want to do. Keep the hips from rolling back. We're going to pick up the weight, bring the elbow right into our waist, fist forward. The arm motion is as straight up toward the ceiling as we can. The elbow might want to lift up, but try to keep it in close. And then the forearm comes back down. And then we just lift the knee with that motion. So we go up and back down. Feet stay together and the knee just lifts up. And when the knee lifts up, the hip wants to roll back. We're going to try to keep that from happening. My computer is just telling me something. I hope it wasn't telling me that there's a problem and that you can't hear me. Hopefully you're all hearing me fine. So let's do 4 more here. Taking that arm as straight up as we can without cocking the wrist. Lifting the knee without rolling the hips back. We'll do 2 more here. Lift up and down. Lift up. Nice job. All right. Place that weight down. Make your way over to all fours. And this is where I wanted us to try working with 2 blocks. So can you avail yourself of your 2 blocks? And rather than putting our hands on the floor, we're going to place our hands on our 2 blocks and have them, so your hands are as wide as your shoulders like they normally are, but they're just up, they're just raised up a little bit. And so play around with a little bit of cat-cow here with this little change in elevation. So you might start with cow pose and then move into cat pose. So it's just going to change our experience of cat-cow a little bit with a little bit of elevation here. And just kind of experience this. Doing cat-cow with your hands at a slightly elevated angle. If you come into one of these poses and you want to move a little side to side, you're welcome to do that. As your head dangles in your cow pose, you can move your head a little bit if you like. And same thing in cat pose as you extend. If you want to move your shoulders or your hips a little, you could do that. Just kind of free things up a little bit here. And then we're going to start to transition. Let's actually move into flexion or rounding or cat pose. And then start to take the hips back. And we're going to sit back on our heels, sit back into child's pose. And then we have our hands on the blocks. So I want your hands on the blocks. And I need to slide my blocks a little more forward as I'm sitting back here. If you need to do that, you can, so that your arms are kind of stretched out in front of you. Your head might not come to the floor, and that's all right for the moment here. What I want you to do with your hands on your blocks is you've got your sticky mat. So the block will hopefully not move, but I want you to feel as though you're pulling your block back towards you. So you're going to press onto the block and you're going to kind of create a pulling in motion. And there's that stickiness holding the block there, but you're kind of creating some action in your shoulders with this pulling motion here. And then could you push the block forward? Imagine it's not actually going to move because of your sticky mat, but the intention is to push the block forward. So you're going to, again, try and pull the block towards you. And then you're going to try and push the block forward, away from you. You're just changing the action in the shoulders. One more time. Try it. It's not a big movement, or you actually would move the block, but pull, and there's a little bit of resistance because of your sticky mat. And then push. All right, now we're going to try and push the block wide, as if you're pushing your arms out to the side. But again, with the sticky mat, there won't be movement, but you can feel some resistance, some action in your upper back and shoulders. And then imagine you're pulling the blocks in toward the midline. Yeah, so you're going to push the blocks apart, and then you're going to try to pull the blocks in. And hopefully your mat is sticky enough so that as you're doing these actions, the block isn't moving, but there's some resistance. You're pushing the block apart and you're pulling the block in towards your midline. All right, let's just take our arms now and create a pillow for our head and rest our head on our pillow to just free up the neck for a moment. Maybe your head was resting on the floor, but if it was just kind of hanging out, just give it a moment of rest and take a breath in and out. And then lift your head up, reach your arms back onto the block. We're going to come up onto knees. And I want us to lower our chest down right between the blocks. So You may need to widen your blocks a little bit. I want us to come down onto our belly into like a prone mountain with your hands on the blocks. Just like when we're in prone mountain, we have the heel of our hands by our low ribs. Same idea, but our hands are on these blocks now. And hopefully that works for you. If this for some reason doesn't feel good in your body, you're welcome to get rid of the blocks and just have your hands on the floor like we normally do. So from here, can you with your hands kind of press the heel of your hands or your whole hand back toward your heels? And again, with the sticky mat, hopefully you can get some resistance without your block actually moving. And then can you push with your hands the block forward kind of towards your head, the direction of where your head is extending. Do that again. Press your hands back towards your heels and then push your hands up towards the front of your mat. One more time. Press back towards your heels and then push up towards the front of your mat. Can you feel how this is just working the muscles in your upper back, back of your shoulders? And then with your hands on the block, can you push them wide, like out to the side? And then hug them in. It's just a little different. Push your hands out, away from the center line, and then hug your hands in towards your center line. And just one more time like that, pushing out and then hugging in. I think this is just really nice work for working the muscles of the shoulders, kind of in a different way. Okay, slide the blocks away. We're not going to use them now. We're going to bring our hands back down. We're going to push back to knees, take the hips back, and let's make our way to downward facing dog. As we're here, we're just going to let the head dangle, kind of move it around, shake it a little bit, release it. And then we'll pedal the heels a few times, bending a knee and pressing a heel down. Or any other movement that your body might enjoy here. You might move your hips a little further back. You might stretch out one side a bit more than the other, whatever feels good here. And then let's take a little bend in both knees. See if we can draw the hips a little further up and back and take 2 deep breaths in and out. With that exhale being a big, again, deep breath in and a big, great. Let's walk our hands back towards our feet. End up folded over, soft bent knees, nice and loose upper body. Feet nice and planted here. We'll take a breath into the upper back. We'll let the breath empty and begin to roll up. Draw your belly in and roll yourself up until you're stacked all the way up. And then we're going to work with one block again. So pick up one block, place it, let's say, in your right hand, and kind of place it in your hand so that it's like a platter, like you're a waitress with a platter, and you're going to press it up. So you're going to serve it up toward the ceiling. So your arm is pressing straight up from your shoulder. Really press up. And then bring that elbow back down. And do that again. Press straight up. And then bring the elbow down. All right, let's press straight up. And then we're going to stretch over a little bit. So this other arm reaches down. The arm with the block stretches up. And we'll take a big breath into the side body here. And then we'll come back down. Let's do that again. Reach up, stretch way up. And then as you're stretching up, stretch over. And then take a big breath into that side. And then come back up and bring that arm down. Let's change sides. So place the block in the other hand. Serve it up like a platter. Press that arm straight up. So you need, wrist flexion so that you can balance it on your hand and stretch way up and then bring the elbow back down. Let's do that again. Stretch straight up, up, and then stretch over a little bit. Breathe into that side and then come up and come back down. One more time. We're going to press up and over and then up and down. Okay, place it back in your first hand. So we're going to take that block, we're balancing it on our hand here. And I want you to bring your elbow back and then bring it forward like you're serving it up. Bring your elbow back. So the trick here is we're balancing the block on our hand. We're not holding it with our fingers. We're balancing it like a platter. Can we serve it up and pull it back? So this works on mobility in the shoulder and in the wrist. So this time as we bring it back, can you turn it inward without grabbing it and take it behind you and then serve it up behind? And then bring it in. Try not to grab it, but bring it around and serve it up in front of you. Try that again. Bring it in, rotate it in, take it behind. Try not to grab the edges, because that's cheating. Bring it in, bring it around, and serve it up in front. Nice, great. Okay, bring it in, change arms. Balance it on your other hand. And we're going to serve it up in front. And then we're going to take the elbow back. So we're just really focusing on a little bit of shoulder mobility here. Serving it up in front. Take that elbow back, and then can you rotate it in and take it behind without grabbing onto it? Serve it up behind, then bring it in, rotate it around, serve it up in front. So we all have different length arms. We all have different issues of mobility in our wrists and our shoulders. So we're just kind of doing the best we can here, but we're just kind of moving in a way that's a little different. It's nice to try new movements. Last one here, take it out and back and serve it up behind, bring it back, around, serve it up in front. Nice work. All right, you can set the block down and let's pick up our heavier weights. And we'll do something more familiar, something we do often, which is some squatting to warm up the legs a bit here. So we're gonna have our feet in squat position, maybe a little wider than hips, feet maybe slightly angled out, kind of personal preference on how wide your feet are and the angle of your feet. But it should be a position where you can sit down, your knees can track in the direction of your toes, and you can kind of get low into your squat. So we're gonna come down, and we're gonna have our arms down at our side. As we straighten the legs, we're gonna curl up, or wait, I'm sorry. I want you to squat down, and then we're gonna press up, and then we're gonna squat, and then we're gonna lower. So this is hard to cue. Do what I'm doing. Squat and lower your arms, bring your arms up, squat, and then press up. Squat and lower your arms, squat, and then press up. Yeah. So we're doing a little bicep curl and then a press. Lower and lower. Bicep curl, press up, lower and lower. A few more of these. Sitting low in your squat, as low as works for you. Starting to maybe feel this in your legs. Let's do a few more. Low, press up, low and lower. We'll do two more. Down and lower. Curl, press up, down and lower. Good work. Okay, set your heavier weights down and come to stand at the front of your mat. And stand in mountain pose. So take a moment, feel your feet rooting down, create your foundation. As you root down, stand nice and tall. Take your arms and reach them out, broaden here. Reach your arms up and take a breath in. As you exhale, swan dive forward, fold over. Let's bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Ground through your hands. Take your hips up and back. Take a breath. Exhale to straight arm plank. Now, as you're here with your hands on the floor, and you could put your knees down if you like, can you feel like you're pushing your hands forward? Can you feel like you're pulling your hands back? Can you feel like you're pushing your hands out wide? Can you feel like you're hugging your hands in? Just like we did with the blocks. One more time. Feel like you're pushing your hands forward. Feel like you're pulling your hands back. Feel like you're pushing your hands wider. Feel like you're pulling your hands in. Yeah. All right, take a breath. Now let's try a little bend in the elbows. You could have your knees down here if that's better for you. With your elbows bent, could you push your hands forward, pull your hands back, press your hands out wide, and pull them in. Great. Take a breath, and then let's lower all the way down to belly. Slide the heels of your hands back. Same thing. Push your hands forward, press your hands back, press your hands out a little wider, hug your hands in towards your midline. One more time, push them forward, press them back, push them wide, hug them in. Nice job. All right, from here, let's inhale up to baby cobra. Feel your heart pulling forward. Exhale and lower down. This time, inhale up to baby cobra. Let's lift our hands, lift our elbows, and hug them in. Take a breath, and then lower down. All right, this time, lift up into baby cobra. Take your arms out like a V. Then hug your elbows into your waist and kind of squeeze your shoulders together as you lift up a little higher, and then lower down and reach your arms out like a V. Again, lift up, hug your elbows in as you come into your baby cobra, lower down, reach your arms out in V. One more time, come on up, hug your elbows in as you lift up into your baby cobra, reach your arms out. Just hover your head, bring your hands back next to your chest, push back to knees, take your hips back, curl your toes under and come up to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Lower again to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale, little bend in your elbows. Take a breath here. Exhale, lower yourself all the way down. All right, so let's press the hips down and lift the legs up now. Get the back of the legs working here. And we're just gonna flutter the legs a little bit here. Flutter, 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 flutter. Front of the hips are pressing down, and you're just getting the legs working here, hamstrings and glutes. All right, lift both legs up and lower them down. Great. Now take your arms out like a V, and on an in-breath, we're gonna lift the chest up, lift the arms off the floor, lift the legs up, and then as we exhale, we're gonna hug elbows in, maybe lift the chest and legs a bit more. And then exhale, reach your arms out, let everything relax down. So we're gonna inhale and lift up, exhale, hug in and maybe lift a little higher, then reach out and lower down. We're gonna reach up, exhale, hug in, lift a little higher, reach out and lower down. Two more. Reach up, hug the elbows in, lift a little higher, reach out and lower down. Last one. Reach up, hug the elbows in, maybe lift a little higher, reach out and lower down. Good work. Bring hands back next to chest, push yourself back, take your hips back. Let's sit all the way back into child's pose. Rounding over the legs. Your arms could be out in front. Your head could be resting on your arms or on a block. Take a moment here to breathe and check in. And then with your next in-breath, lift your head up. Let's come up to knees. And we're going to step one foot out in front. So your knee and your foot are hip distance apart. We're going to maybe scooch that heel a little forward of the knee. And we're just going to start to let the knee move forward. As that knee moves forward, we start to get a stretch in the back hip. And then push back. So put a little tone in the belly to support your low back so that when you bring the knee forward, you're not dumping into the low back. And then push the weight back. Now, the hip, let me just turn so you can see me better. This hip back here, think about where your hip bone is and kind of lift it up. With this back hip lifted up, now let the weight move forward on your front knee. And you may not go as far, but you might feel a bigger stretch in the front of that hip. And then that arm, that's the same as your back leg, reach it up. So this back hip is lifting up. The back knee could be pressing down as the arm reaches up. Take a breath. And then bring the arm down, push the weight onto the back leg, change legs. So you're gonna step the other foot out in front. Again, foot and knee as wide as hips, don't narrow your stance. And just start to let the weight move onto that front foot, that front knee moving forward, getting a stretch back here. And then push back. Do that again, just kind of taking some time. A little tone in the belly so you're not overly arching into your low back. And then push back. Now find that back hip bone, hip point, lift it up a little bit. And then move into this stretch. So you may not go as far, but maybe you feel it a little more. This same arm as your back leg, sweep it up. Can you press the back knee down as that arm reaches up and overhead? And you take a breath. And then bring it down, push the weight back. All right, let's come back onto both knees. We're going to sit back, reach the arms out, and we'll make our way to downward facing dog. Let's breathe in and out here. And again, we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet, ending up folded over, soft bent knees, feet hip distance apart. Let's bend the knees and lower the hips. We're going to sweep the arms forward. I'm just going to move a little. So we're going to sit back in a chair. Let's take the arm that's closest to our camera and sweep it down and behind. Open and twist. Try to keep your knees from moving back. Keep your knees parallel, but twist your upper body and take a breath. And then sweep that arm down and forward. Take your other arm, sweep it down and behind. Without moving that same knee back, keep your knees parallel, but twist your upper body and take a breath. And then sweep that arm down and forward. Sit back in your heels. Take your arms up alongside your ears. Take a breath in and out here. And then push down to rise up. Stretch up. And then bring your arms down. Nice. All right, let's pick up our heavier weights. Whoa, time is flying today. All right, pick up your heavier weights. We are going to try to do lunges by stepping over our mat. So we're going to step over the mat and do a lunge. So that's optional. If you want to do, just do it just without stepping over the mat, you're welcome. But stepping over the mat might give you like an inspiration to do a deeper lunge. So you could try it and see what you think. So you're standing in front of your mat, feet are hip distance apart. We're going to take a big step back and try and step over your mat, and then we're going to lunge. And as we lunge, we're going to bicep curl. And then we're going to step forward. So we're just going to step back, lunge and curl, and then step forward. Step back and curl, and then you can just kind of tap the foot, or you can step, right? So you're stepping back and lunging, and then coming forward. So you end up really working the front leg quite a bit. That's providing the support. But you're working the back leg too. And of course, we're working the biceps here. So let's do a few more of these. There's a little more balance and stability challenge when we add the movement here, rather than just having the back foot down and lunging repeatedly. So let's do 4 more, and 3 more, and 2 more, and hold it here now. And let's just do a few static lunges with bicep curls. Yeah, we'll do 4 more like this. Good job. Last one. And then step forward. Great. Let's try that on the other side. You're going to take a big step back. You're going to lunge and curl. And then you're going to step forward. Big step back, lunge and curl, and then step forward. And just continuing like that. Some people, when they lunge, that back knee goes all the way, almost touching the floor. So you go as low as is right for your body. Some of us, our knees, our ankles might make us not lunge quite as deeply. And that's fine. That's why this mindful practice is really nice. We are less likely to do something that's not appropriate for us. Let's do 2 more like this. Stepping back and lunging. And then the next time we go back, let's just do a few here. Down and up. Down and up. Good work. Let's do 4 more. Maybe starting to feel those biceps. Feeling the legs. Last one here. Good work. Step forward. Nice job. All right. You can put your weights down. Let's come into a wide stance. We're going to turn one foot in, turn the other foot out. We're going to bend a knee. And really feel your feet planted. Hips are level at this point. We're going to tip the hips over. Bottom arm resting on the bottom thigh. Other arm, reach it forward. And then open it up. So from here, all we're going to do is lift this bottom hand just barely off of the bottom leg. And then put it back down. Lift it just a little bit up and put it back down. Bottom arm comes a little bit up and then back down. 2 more. A little bit up and then back down. A little bit up. And this next time we're going to come all the way up. So come on up, straighten your front leg. Turn the feet forward. Come around to the other side. You can bend the front knee. Get nice and solid in your feet, hips level. Then tip your hips over. This bottom arm comes on the thigh. Other arm can start forward and then open up. And then all we're going to do is lift this bottom arm a little bit up and come back over. Lift it a little bit up and come back over. Lift it a little bit up and come back over. 1 more like that. And then we're going to come all the way up. Reach up, straighten that leg. Turn your feet forward. Let's hinge forward here. Come to flat back. Knees can be a little bit soft here. And then hinge all the way over. Slide your hands down your legs. Fold all the way over. Let your head drop down. Your knees can be soft here. Or you can straighten the legs if you want a little stretch in the back of the legs here. Let your head dangle. Breathe in and out. Bring your hands to the floor, even if you have to bend your knees quite a bit. Turn your right foot out. Bend your right knees towards your right toes. Let your hips lower down. Feel that stretch along the inner line of the straight leg. Then come back center. Turn your feet forward. Walk over to the other side. Turn the left foot out. Bend that knee towards the toes. Drop your hips down. Do that again on each side. So we're going to turn the feet forward, then turn the right foot out, walk over, bend that knee, lower your hips, stretch into that straight leg. Come back center, turn that foot forward, turn the other foot out, bend the knee, lower the hips. Nice. Come back center. With your feet parallel, bring your hands to your hips, push into your feet and legs, come up to flat back. Pause here for a breath. And then push down. Inhale and come all the way up. You can walk your feet in, you could jump your feet together. Let's make our way down onto our mats in a sitting position. Let's just do bound angle. So we're going to put our feet together. We could hold the feet, we could hold the ankles, we could have our hands behind. We're going to push the feet in towards each other as we push the knees wide apart, as we root down and sit up tall. Press the feet in, press the knees out. Then just do one at a time. So just push your feet together. Yeah. And then let go of that. Then just push your knees apart. And then let go of that. And then do them both. Push your feet together as you push your knees apart. Sit up tall. Take a breath. And then ease off of that. Great. Spin around to the long line of your mat. And we're going to actually do this with lightweight. So hopefully your lightweights are nearby. We're going to do roll down and roll up. And we're going to let the weights try to assist us with this. So take your weights out in front as you sit up tall. Take a breath. And then we're going to try to activate a nice activation in the low belly. And we're going to try to roll down. And the counterweight is probably going to assist us here. So can you support your back as you slowly release your low back, your mid back, your upper back, and your head. So just bring the weights straight up toward the ceiling. Take a breath. As you exhale, lift your head, tuck your chin, reach the weights forward and let them maybe assist you to roll yourself back up. Let's just take our arms up and overhead. Breathe in. Exhale, bring the arms forward. Draw your low belly in and create that support to begin to release your low back and then your mid back and then your upper back and then your head. Your arms can stay straight up toward the ceiling, or you can reach them overhead. Keep a little tone in your ribs here, pulling them in. Then bring your arms up, lift your head, tuck your chin, reach forward, try to roll yourself up. One more time, reach your arms up, take a breath. As you exhale, reach the arms forward, draw the low belly in, try to release slowly, gradually, roll back, mid back, upper back, head, arms overhead, take a breath. Let's stay down. We'll just bring our arms up and we'll bring them down. Bend your elbows. Release your weights at your side. We're going to move into our final relaxation now. So if you want to take one more little movement, you might want to hug your knees in. You might want to do a little twist. You might, have something that would help you feel like a way to close out your practice. And then when you're ready, when you're all done with that and take your time, you might want to put on a layer. You might want to cover up with a blanket. You might want to put something under your head or under your knees. We're going to start to transition to our final relaxation. So let's take our time here to get comfortable. And as you begin to lie down and settle, see if you can let go of all instruction. And just allow the body to follow its own wisdom. Allow your body to begin to relax. And there's certain parts of the body that will relax quite readily. But with time and space and permission, those parts of the body that tend to not relax, we can allow them to come along. There's no hurry. There's just time and space here now. And permission. To allow the body to relax. Soften. To release. Unwind. Unclench. Open. Melt. Smooth. Release. Relax. And as the body relaxes, let the mind be the same. Relaxed and open. So I do have a little reading for us today. And you're welcome to listen as you're lying back. If you want to transition out of your relaxation as I'm reading, you could do that too. This is called Value the Power of Clear Thought from Melody Beatty. She says, value your mind and the power of conscious, clear thought. All this talk about opening the heart has not been to discount or devalue the power of conscious, clear thought, or of opening our minds and expanding our consciousness. A gift A benefit from opening our heart is increased clarity of mind and thought. As we clear the pathway to the heart by feeling, expressing, and releasing old emotions, we will clear the path to the mind. Just as the body is connected to the mind, so is the heart. A cramped body can cause fuzzy thinking, but so can a clogged heart. To attempt to think clearly and consciously with the heart closed may not work. It may even prove frustrating and difficult. Don't think so hard, the wise old man gently instructed me. You're hurting your head, and your thinking isn't becoming clear. Relax. Stop trying so hard. Open your heart. Then your thinking will clear. The mind, he reminded me, is connected to the heart. If you're feeling cloudy and confused and can't get the answers, stop trying so hard. Move your body and clear your physical energy. Then try opening your heart. You may see a delightful result. Without trying or forcing, your thinking clears, and it becomes clear without the frustration of trying to force thoughts, ideas, or thought patterns. It happens almost magically and quite naturally. The mind is connected to the heart. Value the power of conscious, clear thought. Value your mind and its power by valuing the power and wisdom of an open heart. So, we could bring our hands to heart. If we're lying down, you could stay lying down, or you could make your way out. Closing out the practice in whatever way is best for you this morning. We'll take a few moments just to reflect. Maybe ground ourselves and consider how we want to move into the rest of our day. With an open heart and a clear mind. I thank you for being here this morning. Peace. Well, thanks for coming, everyone.